Johnny Carson was America's favorite TV host for 30 years. He made us laugh, made celebrities feel at home, and kept things light. But behind the scenes, Carson had a secret list, a mental blacklist, of stars he truly hated. These were guests he thought were not just difficult, but actually evil. Here's the truth about 9 Golden Age guests who showed their darkest sides off camera. Frank Sinatra, the bully. Carson smiled through his interviews with Frank Sinatra, but deep down, he couldn't stand him. Sinatra brought scary bodyguards to the studio and treated crew members like trash. Once, he insulted a female staff member loudly during a break. Carson was so upset that he limited Sinatra's appearances after that. He hated how Sinatra used his fame to scare and disrespect others. Orson Welles, the show stealer. Orson Welles thought he was smarter than everyone. He ignored Carson's questions, talked over other guests, and refused to follow the show's schedule. He even caused other guests to be bumped off because he wouldn't stop talking. Carson respected Welles's talent, but said, "Genius doesn't excuse everything." After one bad visit, Carson told his team, "Never again." Joan Crawford, the Ice Queen. On TV, Joan Crawford looked perfect, elegant, calm, and classy. But off camera, she was cold and cruel. She once screamed at a young assistant for bringing her water too early and tried to get her fired. Staff said she acted like a robot when the cameras turned on, but behind the scenes she was nasty and fake. Carson later said, "I believe every word of Mommy Dearest." Mickey Rooney, the creepy veteran. Mickey Rooney was once a child star, but later he became a big problem. He drank too much, acted inappropriately with young women, and once made Carson cut a segment because his story got weird. After one bad visit, Carson personally apologized to a female guest and said, "That's not how professionals act." After that, Rooney wasn't welcome very often. Bette Davis, the verbal fighter. Bette Davis was a Hollywood legend, but she could be incredibly mean. She demanded whiskey before going on, made sexist and racist remarks, and insulted staff members. Carson joked, "She doesn't need a stage, she needs a courtroom." Even though he admired her acting, he decided to stop inviting her. He said, "Life's too short to be yelled at by Bette Davis." Shelley Winters, the tornado. Shelley Winters was unpredictable. She went off topic, talked about politics when no one asked, and even caused chaos on set. Carson respected her passion, but said interviews with her felt like trying to steer a tornado. Once she got so fired up about the Vietnam War that Carson didn't know how to end the segment. He admired her heart, but not her behavior. Jane Russell, the bigot. Jane Russell looked glamorous, but her beliefs were ugly. She insulted LGBTQ+ staff and refused to let a gay makeup artist touch her. She also made rude comments about civil rights. Carson didn't care about political differences, but he wouldn't allow hate. After one bad show in 1973, she was never invited back. Carson wouldn't tolerate discrimination on his set. Jerry Lewis, the phony. Jerry Lewis acted like a hero on stage raising money for sick kids. But backstage, Carson thought he was cruel and arrogant. Lewis once touched Carson's tie without asking, a big no-no, and yelled at a cameraman just for breathing. Carson later told friends, "In a town full of phonies, he stands out as truly hateful." He couldn't stand Lewis's fake public image. Zsa Zsa Gabor, the diva. Zsa Zsa Gabor was loud, funny, and dramatic, but very hard to work with. She gave long lists of demands and refused to come out of her dressing room if things weren't perfect. One time, she delayed the whole show because her favorite makeup wasn't there. Carson got so tired of her drama that he said, "Next time she can host the show and I'll be her sidekick." Johnny Carson wasn't just a great talk show host. He saw through the fake smiles and polished interviews. He judged people by how they treated the little guys on set. Behind the laughs and applause, these 9 stars showed sides that the public never saw. But Carson never forgot. In his quiet way, he stood up for kindness over fame.